Hi everyone, and welcome back to Storytime Art. I'm certainly glad that you could join us here again this week. My name is Tyler. Welcome. So today we're going to take a little look outside as well as around our homes for some inspiration and some starting points for our artwork. So some of the things that I've gathered, and you can take a minute to go and gather these things if you want, are some things like a pine cone. I have pine needles. What else do I have? I have a stick, just a regular stick. I have a crumply dried out leaf. I want to be careful with that one so I don't actually crumple it all the way. And I also have some differently shaped leaves that I found outside and some dandelions and things like that. I'm also going to take a little look around my home in a little bit to see if there's interesting objects that I can find that I want to use for this. So take a little bit of time, head outside, take a look around your house, find some things that you really like the shape of, and bring them back, and then we'll get started. So let's take a look at some options and things that we have available to us. So I'll start you off here with one that I've just quickly kind of finished off as I've created a little dancing person using this little thing of leaves. I just sort of put that down on the paper on the table here, and I just kind of thought like, what does that really look like? And I thought it kind of looked like a nice big kind of flowy like gown or dress kind of thing. And I thought it had a lot of nice movement to it, so I immediately thought of kind of a dancing person, which I thought was kind of neat. Now, if you use fresh leaves like these, there is one thing that you may have to keep in mind. I did this picture yesterday that was on the front picture there in the video, and as you can see, some of the leaves, they've dried out, they've shriveled up a little bit, which I actually think this is kind of a really neat look, but it is something that you have to keep in mind. Unless you choose something like pine cones or pine needles, or a little piece of rock. This is a piece of pavement that cracked off a sidewalk, I think, or dried out leaves, things that are already dried out. Another option is that you can grab things like these leaves, let them dry out completely, and then you can go ahead and use them. But if you want this look, what I'm going to do is I drew this, I put the leaves down, and now I'm going to take a photo of it so that way I can preserve or keep the way that it looks right now. I'm actually going to leave this and take a look to see what it looks like maybe tomorrow. It might actually be quite interesting. All right, so let's take a look at a few other things. I also grabbed a screwdriver and a paintbrush. I might take a look, and I have these two circle things. They're like little plastic dishes. I might see what I can use those for in a little bit, whatever sort of strikes my fancy. So grab a thing or two, sort of spread out all your things on your table, and see what kind of speaks to you the most. And the first thing that really stuck out to me, this was actually the stem to this dandelion that is no longer as bright and vibrant as it was yesterday. But the stem, it's still pretty intact, and it has a nice kind of curve to it. And I thought that kind of looked a little bit like, almost like a hose with some water coming out of it, kind of like that. So I've sketched these out lightly with a pencil ahead of time. I don't know if you can see it or not. And I'm going to draw it in with a marker. You can draw it in with whatever you like. So I'm going to place the things here. Now in this case, I kind of grabbed a few things, put them together, and then that's where I got my idea from. I got my idea kind of second. So now I'm going to draw a person here holding the fire hose. Maybe they're hosing off a house, putting out a big old fire. I'm just keeping my people really simple looking for now. You know, once you've drawn these with pencil, you can actually move these out of the way. Okay, this is where my next person will go. And, you know, take your time with it. I'm just kind of going a little quickly. And then we have just like that our firefighters who are putting out a big dangerous fire. Maybe they're helping out. So if you want to keep that the way it is, you can either do this or you can reuse these things. You can also just throw a little bit of glue down there where your things were. Oh, I did that upside down. Oopsies. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. And then a little bit of glue here. Just a few dips and dots. And then lay that kind of in the glue. Give that a little bit of time to dry. And then maybe once the glue is dry, you can color in those little people there. All right, so let's put this over here. Let's try something else. Let's see, what do I have next? Another one is you can kind of make almost a whole picture with a lot of different things. So I'm going to grab this stick from yesterday's picture, sort of put it in here. As you can see, I've got some thin pine needles. I've cut them off to make kind of a tall grass. I've got these dandelions, which when they're this big on such a small paper, it makes them look like big giant sunflowers. I don't know about you, but my favorite flower are those big enormous sunflowers. The ones that grow so tall you can barely even see the tops. And then maybe I'll grab a leaf. Maybe I'll grab both two leaves from yesterday's picture and I'll put them up there to look a little bit like little trees. And then I'll draw in some little characters. Maybe they're going for a little walk and they're on the bridge here and they're just taking a minute to take in all the scenery that's out there, just like that. This one might be a bit harder to glue down because of the stick, but you know, that's another way that you can use some of these things. All right, so let's put that very gently over to the side there. All right, so this is, let's get rid of those. All right, so now for this one, I'm gonna grab some objects and I'm not gonna decide what I wanna do beforehand. I'm just gonna I'm gonna start with these and sort of think, what do these kind of look like? Maybe I'll rearrange them. Maybe I'll kind of play around with them. Maybe I can, you know, play around with other objects and kind of see, is there something that kind of sticks out? And I think I have an idea. So again, I'm going to draw this with pencil first. So that's where one of the circles was. And then I'll draw it with marker and maybe color it in afterwards. Can't exactly remember what they look like, but perhaps you can sort of start to see what I'm making here. There we go. Now I've got myself a bicycle, just like that. Pretty neat, eh? Let's try that one more time. I do like the bicycle idea. That one was a neat one that kind of came up. This can be kind of a fun game also if you want to. You can work in pairs or teams and you can choose an object, hand it to the other team or other person and say, okay, now it's your turn to make a game out of this. So if someone handed me these two pieces of sidewalk that had sort of chipped off, And I'm going to sort of maybe place them kind of like this. I thought about this idea almost right away when I saw these. I thought they kind of looked a bit like space rock, a bit like some moon. So up here, I'm going to draw an astronaut, big backpack there, and like a big helmet, like that, antennae. And maybe their space explorer ship is over here. And a ladder to get down. And a door. A little radar so that they can call home. And then since they're on the moon, perhaps we'll draw the Earth over here. I'll just take a quick minute, color that one in a little bit. That marker's almost dead. I'm gonna keep it though, maybe make some paint. Oop, that's not even blue at all. There we go. There's some good blue. I'm going to keep my dried out marker. If you were with us on the first week, we learned how to make our very own watercolor paint out of the dried out markers. You can take a look. That video should be up on our website, AGH at Home. And all the previous videos that we've made for Storytime Art, as well as our Workshop Wednesday live streams, you can find those up there. Lots of fun art projects. And lots of ideas from people in the community as well. So here's a few of my sort of nature-inspired drawings, just by sort of using things that I've found outside, across the street. You could maybe find them if you have a backyard, you might find them there. I don't have a backyard, so I have to go for a little bit of a walk. And then see if I can fit it in here. Here's the very first one that I did the dance. Maybe I can put the dancing person. Maybe they're dancing on the bicycle or something like that. All right. So it's just that simple. Take a little wander, take a little walk, see what you can find outside or in your home, and see what kind of art you can turn that into. Thanks for joining us again, and if you make something and you'd like to share it with us, please post it on Facebook or Instagram, tag us in it, and you can use this hashtag AGH@home, and that way we will see it and we will be able to share it with all of our friends to see, which would be super, super wonderful. Thanks very much, and have a great rest of your day.